Hello, everybody. This is the Beauty Agent Network, and we're doing the Spotlight featuring iconic barbers. So give us a minute here. We are logging onto Facebook right now. Our friends at Hairdressers Advice are let us go live with them every Monday, or every Monday that I'm available, and to be able to introduce the talent that is on the Beauty Agent Network. And we get to I get to rap with talent and artists and really amazing people in this industry. And I got to tell you, it's a whole lot of fun. All right, Hairdressers Advice, helping hairdressers and barbers live their life with purpose. We are ready to rock and roll. Okay, it's going live, going live, going live. We are officially live here on Woo! All right. Welcome to the Beauty Agent Network. I'm Bonnie Bonadeo. I'm the president and founder of the Beauty Agent Network. And this little mission of mine started about 10 years ago. And I started because I saw a need in the industry. There was a lot of amazing talent that was kind of displaced when mergers and acquisitions were taking place. And during that time, all of this talent was just like, how can I get work? How can I continue to be an educator? Because companies weren't hiring education at the time. And so I created a company called the Beauty Agents, and we started creating indie education back then. So it was kind of the initial start of where we had a lot of independent education taking place. And it's not the first time that this happened. I mean, we could go back many, many years with NCA back in the days of creating that independent education that people were looking for. But of course, social media, technology, the internet, all of that changed the landscape of how we get educated. And so today we're not only doing live events, but we're doing live events on Facebook and Instagram and the Zoom network like we're doing today. And my very special guests today are iconic barbers. So we have Craig McLaren and Juan Zapool, who are part of the iconic barber team. Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey.
All right, you've had a busy weekend because I know that you were at the premiere show in Philadelphia doing a couple classes, right? So tell us a little bit about the classes that you were doing, and then I want to hear your stories, okay?
Okay. Well, first of all, it was a pleasure to do a show of that event here in Philadelphia for the first time in like over 20 years.
Right, because you guys are from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm from Philadelphia. Craig is from Delaware, right the state next to us. So, but we're basically all the same.
Yeah.
And so it was a pleasure for a city of our size to finally get a show back, and it was a good class. We did it on the Iconic here. Thanks to Craig's skills making me look good today. He actually had to practice today.
He was a model today.
I was the model. I was today's model.
Perfect. So did you guys do some hands-on workshops or just some complimentary classes?
Just complimentary classes today.
Perfect. Right. Yeah.
And this weekend.
So I want to hear about you guys, and then of course I want to hear more about the education that you're offering, because we've been doing this together for a few years now.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely adore you guys, and I appreciate all your support in everything that we're trying to do here. But Craig, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Why don't you give us a little history and background? And what I say to people on the spotlight is I want to hear about little Craig.
Oh, man. Well, really, I'm an artist by trade. That's why I have all artwork in my shop. And I was dreaming of being an NFL football star. And while I was cutting hair, I learned how to cut hair in college by my best friend. I got to the CFL, got chicken pox, came home. So then I started my barber career. And I opened up my first shop. From there, I was working for somebody and had a shop. Me being employed by somebody didn't go too far. Then I opened up a second shop. So I was in the early stages of the mid-'90s, opening up shops and getting into the barber business with my childhood friend, which was my partner, and his mother came up with the name of my shop, which is Fat Cuts. And she said it so basic, and we was trying to figure out a name. We was trying to figure out all these weird names. She said, you cut fat, just call it Fat Cuts. And it's been Fat Cuts now for 26 years. And right now I'm in my location now. This is my 5th location I opened up. I don't have multiple locations. I just have one big shop. So I'm just kind of satisfied. Downtown Wilmington, Delaware, the first state, the home of Joe Biden, old vice president. And I try my best to do what I do.
My mom was born in Delaware.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Nice.
You got the blue on now.
I actually didn't know that's where your shop was located. So,
Yeah.
but you've got some family that have been in the barber world, right?
Yes, I have family that's been in the barber world. But I've kind of like took it off. I have aunt that was in not barbering, cosmetology. Most of them was cosmetologists.
Oh.
And I took it to the other stage and went to barbering. Now they won't let me teach them. They just have this thing that I can't teach them now. So which is funny though. We go at it all the time. So my aunts and them will go. They'll learn from another barber, but they won't ask me questions right now.
Oh, that's good. All right, cool. Well, we're glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us today. Wanza, I'm ready to hear your little Wanza story.
Well, my little Wanza story is funny. I was in college myself, and my financial aid after my first year kind of fell out. I was in Pierce Junior College here in Philadelphia, and I had a conversation with my mom one day at the table. She said, the family wants you to go back to school. I said, well, I owe $15,000 and I need another $15,000 to go to school. I said, so if no one has any money to give me to go back to school and to pay my bills, I just want to cut hair. And she said, as long as you want to do something positive, I'll support you. And from that point, I got into barbering. I just knew I liked it. Wasn't making any money. And I stayed with it. I've met some really great guys along the way. I worked at one of the best barber shops at the time on the East Coast called the Philadelphia Hair Company. I worked there for 12 years. I became a single parent while I was there. I raised my son. He's now 24 now, but he's grown up with me in the barber shop, and he's actually working with me now in my barber shop. I've owned my own shop for about 10 years now. 10 years. I've been on my own for 13 or 14 years. And it's just barbering has given me something I never even imagined. I never even imagined I had been a barber. And the industry and the game has been very good to me. And that's one of my passions is teaching. And quickly, there's a history of educators in my family. So it's just natural for me to go into teaching what we do, the business side, the technical side, and also the health side of the barber industry.
Yeah, I love that we all say, I never thought I'd end up in beauty or barbering.
Right.
We all had these other big plans, but I think the plans to be in beauty and barbering kind of, took over. I didn't think it would be where I'd end up either.
Right.
And it's funny, I went in for psychology, and I ended up still working in psychology with barbering.
Well, exactly. I was going to say, not much has changed in that role, huh?
Not much has changed. Yeah.
You still got a team of people hanging around you, Craig. So you're part of the team, no matter how you look at it, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Barbering team. So you guys have been doing this for a while, and there was a point where it appeared that barbering was kind of fading away back in the day, and all this, this transition of our industry where it kind of went where men were just coming into the salons and barbershops were kind of in smaller towns and I think maybe more urban towns than in major cities, but that's all changed. I mean, barbering is a big business now. So what have you guys noticed in your businesses with the way that barbering, do you meet guys that come in and get their hair cut and say, hey, I've been thinking about getting into barbering. What do I need to know?
Wow. I have it all the time. At least 2 people a week come in and say they want to get into barbering. I have clients say they wish they could have been a barber, or can they teach me? I mean, barbering took the turn when the economy fell. After the economy fell, that's when the barber boom went bananas. A lot of people lost their jobs, but a lot of people were ex-hairdressers and barbers in the house, but they had other full-time jobs. So they had to go back and do what they loved and wanted to do, and it's almost they was forced, and that created a barber boom. And now it's barber shops everywhere. As people want to get into cutting hair. It's the people that never even thought that they could make the same amount of money as being a corporate person in the barber field, and they can. They're making even more now. So I love how I boomed in the past 10 years, and it's probably just going to keep booming now.
Yeah, I think it's going to continue
And
because
now
I
there's
think
barbershops everywhere. If people want to get the cutting hair, it's the people that never even thought that they could make the same amount of money as being a corporate person in the barber field, and they can. They make it even more now. So I love.
yeah, that's good. Sorry, I think I heard some repeat there. You guys still. It's like we had to hear you all over again, Craig.
Dude, what are you doing?
It was. Oh no, now I hear me. Hold on. Stand by, guys.
Okay. Technology, don't worry about it. Work it through.
And we have to hear it again. All right, let's try this here. All right, so I think that men have decided that barbering and going to barber shops and using men's products is kind of it's kind of being dictated now. I mean, if they've always been going to a salon and there's not a barber shop maybe kind of in that same vicinity, they might continue doing that. But I think they're in search of kind of having this exclusive place for them.
I personally think too, the redefining of what men are as far as taking care of ourselves. They came out with the term like metrosexual, and it meant it was this male who groomed himself and all that. And then a lot of the older styles infused with the newer styles. And then the millennials. The millennials have really helped push the industry as well, because they don't necessarily gravitate to go to college. They don't really seek to really work for someone else. You know, if we just look at all the tech boom in the music industry, people like to be independent. You have so many people doing fashion now, creating apps, creating websites. So all this is together, and it has really been great for us. I get a lot of, new people wanting to be students and things like that. And but the one thing that they lack is patience and understanding that this is not like building an app. This is actually building a career. And I talk to the students and I talk to newcomers and say, listen, if you don't have patience, if you don't have 3 to 5 years to really be patient, to build your craft, to understand the business, and to build your clientele, you're not going to make it. But they see you making $20, $30, $40, and they think, I'm going to do that, and I can make that money. But it's just not that easy, because it's still a relationship-based business as well.
Right.
Yeah. And Craig, do you agree with that? It's really 3 to 5 years before you start to see the success you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 to 5 years. And for the young guys coming in, and some of the older guys that's been cutting through the 20s, the age cutoff point I talk about in our educational class all the time is 35. A lot of people are cutting all through their 20s. When they hit 35, they have to make a choice. Do I go get a job to support my family, or is my barber career can support my family? It's 35. 35 is where, health, you start thinking about healthcare, you're watching politics a little bit more, and then you have to make a decision. Do I go full blast in this barber industry for another 15, 20 years, or do I just go get a job and cut on the side? So I do. I think patience, you got to really think about yourself and see if you really want to make this as a career. It's not easy. I've been doing it for almost 30 years. I went through a hell of a lot. And this physically is not easy to stay with high clientele with 30 years. A lot of young guys have clientele 5 years. It's slack off because all that client goes bald. So you have to reinvent yourself every 5 years just so you can stay in the game. So the 5 years is definitely a very important mark.
Yeah, and let me ask you guys this. We've all, I think that I hear this from salons and stylists that, men aren't going to pay $50 for a haircut. So I think there's also this transition that we have to, like they're expecting to go to a barbershop and maybe spend $12. And certainly places like Sports Clips and those chain accounts are kind of dictating that, because if that's where the men are going, then to get a really good haircut or a trained barber, they may not spend more than that. Where are you guys at in regards to your pricing, and how do you feel about that?
Personally, I charge $30 plus, and I am not a result of I'm a result of one, limited amount of time, and two, my clients drop the price up because they don't want to be around a certain other type of client. Whereas though they don't really want, when you catering to people who's paying $12 and $15, there's a certain type of man that comes with that. And when you get a bunch of, when you have a bunch of men and you understand that, you understand this as far as us being African Americans, our barbershops mean much more to us than other races. So my barbershop is like a community, and these guys we all work together. So like we all support one another. So we're not just cutting hair, we're doing business together, we're doing events together. So there's a circle of trust that we created, and it takes a lot for people to get in there. And so that's what I'm dealing with in respect to my personal business. Now, I've had someone approach me about doing a much larger vision, like you were saying, like a haircut and all like that. And then we go from charging $30 to the price range of $15 to $22. But then that means I'm gonna have to be cutting a lot more, and there's a lot of different things that go along with that. But as far as me personally, my price is up because of my clientele, not because of my clients want it that way, and not necessarily because I just want to charge that. I see guys, and Craig and I have talked about that. I'm gonna let Craig go to this. This is guys on the internet. I charge 60, I charge 80, I charge 100. I mean, that sounds good online, but do you really have a clientele? If you're charging $60, how many $60 clients do you really have? Are you cutting 20 $60 people a day? I just can't see that America actually as a whole supports that. Now I can see a price range between 15 and 50, but I can't really see 60 plus and someone that's just it. Like they don't have no retail or nothing, they just $60.
Yeah.
Okay, so your clientele is coming back far more often than a female is. So I
weekly.
understand that justification of price then, right?
Right.
So they come weekly.
Right. So Bonnie, for me being in the business for almost 30 years, price has been going up, some have gone down. And for me traveling across the country, I always talk about New York. New York is the biggest city in the United States. So New York is some places have, your area will dictate your price.
Yeah.
If you're in a low income area, you cannot charge $50. If you're in a high income area, you can charge $50 or more. But then I always will question, if you charge $50 today for 5 years, 10 years, are you going to go to 100 or are you going to go to 80? 15 years, are you going to go to 150? So when is your cutoff point to say, okay, this is just my price as a professional all the way through? I might raise it up a little bit, but I can't raise it up too high because my community around me can dictate my price. Yeah. And I think a lot of barbers are too high, I physically think. Why pay a guy that says I'm a celebrity barber or I got social media friends and I'm buzzing on social media, now I'm $60, but I can go down the street to the $10 guy and the haircuts match the same. So it's a difference. Me personally in my town, I like the guys that come back every week. Like Juan says, it's community. You come back every week, my price is in your budget of your lifestyle. So I'm on your bill list. So I want to be on people's bills list, and that builds more community, more character, and more personal.
Yeah, good point.
That's where I'm at. And at the end of the day, Bonnie, like I said, at 35 mark, on through the 20s, a lot of barbers is not paying taxes in the 20s. Right. When they hit 35, real life taps in. The IRS is after you. Now you got to pay taxes. Now you can't get on social media and say, I charge this much, because the IRS going to come for you and say, well, hold up, your taxes not matching your income. So it's very tricky. It depends on where you at in the United States or just how your barbershop is set up, I think.
Do you guys have a fairly diverse clientele in, who's coming into your shop and male and female barbers, all that kind of diversity?
Yes. Me personally, a third of my clientele is females. And one in particular, women like to come to me, and I've gotten word of mouth. Really, I don't advertise the word women that much, but I get word of mouth because I know how to cut women hair. I know how to make their hair, give them that shortcut, but still make it look very soft and feminine. I don't understand how guys can't cut it that way. It's not that hard, but some barbers, they do what they want to do. They don't do what the client asks. But that's great for me. And women don't mind paying. They going from long styles paying $60, $70 to coming to me paying me $30. So that's great. And then I do have a mixture of Blacks, Latinos, and Caucasians as well.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Bonnie, my shop is located like in the center of Wilmington. My location is right at the middle of the city, and I'm right by the courthouse, right by like 5 hotels, Starbucks, Italian restaurant, and Dunkin' Donuts. I'm the only one down here, and we have a high diverse clientele from everybody comes in. The hardest part is in my shop, all my guys are booked. We do appointments. So I hate turning people away because we just physically can't get everybody. That's the only thing I have a problem with my shop is people come in, we're all booked, and we just physically can't get you. And it's hard to turn people away, but you know, when you run a business downtown and everybody's on the schedule, we try to stay on point and get people in and out. And I try to look for barbers that can have a diverse clientele and it's just an open person. And not hung up on just being with their race. A lot of, as you see, you in Atlanta, you have the Black shop, the Spanish shop, the Caucasian shop, the Asian shop. I just like a shop where everybody in the world can come and get service, no matter what color you are, where you can get service and we know how to do it all. That's where I pattern my shop to be.
Yeah, that's great. And I know that ties into the education that you guys do. So, you know, education is not just based on African-American cutting, barbering. You guys do some of the best education that I've seen out there in how you're offering it. So let's talk a little bit about where you still see the challenges based on you guys being trained as barbers. And going out into a cosmetology world, training cosmetologists to do better men's cutting and grooming, which kind of falls under that barber umbrella. What do you see as the real challenges that are still out there?
I see the challenge is taking cosmetologists from shears to just holding clippers and just their knowledge of the clipper itself. And a lot of what we teach is like, you can come learn it today and the concept seems good, but you have to repeat it. One of the things when I first met Craig, and we were on the road, and when we do classes, guys were like, we don't have no models. They would panic. And Craig was like, well, look, let's just get a mannequin, and we just cut a mannequin. Now the mannequins all have long, thin hair, and so guys were like, I don't know how to do that. And so Craig was like, well, go home, get a mannequin, it's $25 and practice on a mannequin. Look at the videos on YouTube. And he challenged everybody, and I've done that. And successfully, I've learned to be a barber that could fade long, thin hair to being able to do long, thin hair with shears, clippers, or both. And so the challenge for me for hairstylists would be putting those clippers in their hand, getting them to use clippers, and getting them to understand the concepts of graduation, because everything is graduation.
Right.
Yeah.
And on the road, as we've been around, the biggest challenge I see is getting cosmetologists and the barbers that come to the class, even though if they've been in business for how long or just starting out, is go back to the basics. With all the stuff that they see, we all see on TV, people forget the basics. And like Juan said, the basics is go back to your mannequin. For some reason, when people leave school, they have clientele. No one wants to practice anymore. And practice makes perfect. The more reps you put in, the better you are. So at night, grab the mannequin, get mannequins, read your book, and just practice. And I always tell the students that come to class, cosmetology and barbers, do you have mannequins home? Take them, practice a style that you want to do at night. Coming in class, you practice on the mannequin, still continue to practice on the mannequin.
And listen, if you're afraid of putting clippers in your hands, then definitely put clippers in your hands and practice on a mannequin, because there is that insecurity that they have in there. Now, I had on my radio show, Beauty Inside and Out, which airs every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely.
And I had Aston LaFawn from 1821 on the show. And you know what? One of the things that he said to me, and it was the first time I heard it in this way, and I really appreciated it. He said that hairstylists are really trained, to work from the back of the head.
Okay.
Like cutting and cosmetology, and barbers are trained to work from the side of the head.
Yeah.
It's all about the balance. It's all about the elevation that you're talking about.
Right.
And
Right.
I think cosmetologists freak out when they have to go to the side of a head because it's so disconnected. And in barbering, depending on what type of look you're trying to achieve, it's disconnected. It doesn't always blend.
Right, absolutely. Right. It really is. It's a real big challenge of holding the device in your hands, from going from cosmetology going to barbers, and barbers going to cosmetology when they holding the shears in their hand. That's why a lot of barbers don't like using shears, because they feel as though that they don't know how, or that's not out their comfort zone. And the cosmetologists say, I don't like how the clippers feel in my hands, out their comfort zone. So just being comfortable and just knowing your equipment, but that goes back to practice.
It does. It goes back to just kind of overcoming that insecurity of a different tool. But we know that at the end of the day, either one of these tools are going to be able to achieve the results that we're looking for.
And also,
that's really what you guys are doing with your education. You're trying to create that comfort zone for cosmetologists to be comfortable with clippers and,
absolutely,
scissor over comb techniques.
Right.
And I think too, it's when you've been in the industry so long, you look for new ways to invigorate yourself. And a lot of that is, you get bored. And like Craig said, some people get bored and they want to go get a regular job or blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you just need to go deeper into the industry. Sometimes you need to go cross over into the other lane. And because because we're in the industry, it all comes together in some kind of way, cosmetology and barbering. It's just a difference of tools. And once you master the tools, because we all learn how to use chemicals. We all learn how to use sharp implements and all that. So once you understand using shears and clippers, there's really nothing you can do. It's just understanding the process of how to do it.
Right.
Yeah. And again, it's practicing and practicing and practicing.
Right.
Because, the way the styles are going right now with men is they're probably more blended in the last, few years than I've seen. Somebody said, if you want to see what's in style in a men's haircut, put on a soccer game.
Yeah.
Wow.
They have the best hair.
That is true, because they don't have helmets on. They don't basketball games. They not sitting back in the crowd. The lights are on them, and it's multicultural. It's the world. So I can see that, because it's you can see a soccer game, people from all over the world.
All over the world, yeah.
The world, and can find stuff.
And they have there's long hair and short hair. Very, very defined looks. But I'm telling you, these soccer guys had every type of look you can imagine on that team.
Right.
So you could kind of say, I want to look like him because I think my hair is most like him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's funny you said that, because I think David Beckham is the one that kind of brought the pompadour back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the facial hair.
Facial hair.
And the hair coming back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And listen, facial hair can't be easy. That's got to be a whole nother area of education, that not only are you offering your clients, but that you're offering, your the attendees that you're teaching and training, because facial hair is tricky.
Absolutely. Men's grooming and teaching, and it's understanding what you're doing and being able to teach a client on how to take care of themselves when you're not there to do it for them. As Craig said earlier today in the class, he's like, look, a lot of guys may not wash their face but once or a couple times during the week, which to us is unsanitary, but these are how guys are. We have clients where I'm like, when the last time you washed your hair? He's like, last time I came here. I'm like, that's nasty. But guys don't know. Guys are we're simple, right? We're very simple creatures. And so we have to educate these guys on how to take care of themselves. And that in itself bonds your client to you. Because they're like, yo, this guy not only wants to cut my hair, but this guy's helping me take care of my hygiene. It's a major plus.
Absolutely.
To to know it, but to teach it to other people, and they see the value for themselves, and that will make them say, I'm always going to him. That's my guy. He cares about me.
Right. And Bonnie, and at the end of the day, it goes back to it's spiritual too. Everybody don't like everybody playing their hair. So if you trust a person on a consistent basis to really play in your hair, you really feel that person. The other shops where people walk in and out, it's really, you just go in there and getting the service and walking back out. But most of the private shops where you see today where clients physically know who their barber is and know a little bit about them and want to book an appointment, that's personal. The shops you just walk in and say, okay, today I just feel like I'm getting a haircut, and whatever shop is open, I'm open. That's not per. That's just I'm just want to cut off. But the shops will book an appointment. I know my barber's name. I know what he does, he or she does. That's personal because that's trust too. And in this business, you have to have trust. Even when you come to the class, you see us in the class and we give our information. The people that sit in that class, they trust that they're going to leave with some type of information by what we have put forth in this industry. It's a trust thing. They seek out. We keep it professional. We look, we smile, and we network on a consistent basis. So that's trust.
Yeah. And the iconic brand, you guys built this brand to get out there, not to train barbers to be better barbers, but you really did look at that niche of being able to say, we want to train cosmetologists and hairdressers to do better men's hair. Because listen, I want men to start looking their best. I think we all do.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I mean, with the explosion of the industry, to bring it all kind of full circle, with the explosion of the industry, there's just people out here doing stuff. We're looking online and guys is using all kind of color, right? And then you see a guy using a magic marker in his hairline. It's like, is someone has to say, hold on, everybody. We know y'all excited. We know y'all want to do everything, but there's still a certain way to do these things. And there's a very unsanitary, dangerous way. And people don't understand how they can hurt themselves with color, perms, texturizers. So someone has to tell these people. I had a student, for example, and he was like, he's learning. He's like, hey, I got a guy that wants to come in and get a dye. I'm like, okay, but you can't do it. Why not? Because you're not at that stage yet. Oh, but he wants to pay me to do it. No, you can't do it. No, there has to be someone to tell him, hold on, slow down. Let's get to that bridge when we cross it. But when they look on YouTube, now they out here doing it themselves. And a lot of people don't realize how they can hurt themselves. They don't even take hair advantage. A lot of people don't understand how serious hair is on a sanitary issue, let alone using implements and chemicals. So,
And I know one of the challenges that I have, and maybe you guys can answer my question here for me, because it could be my technique. It could be that I'm using old blades. But when I take a trimmer on the neckline, and you are roughing up that skin too much, and you see that you've kind of nicked it a little bit, and you got little blood spots going on, clearly I'm not doing something right. And there's they're right there. How many times a day are you doing that on clients and not cleaning your utensils and your tools in the process of that? But give me some advice here, because maybe I take the trimmer up. But is it just because if the skin's too dry? Is it because the blade is dull? What am I doing?
Well, I'm going to say Juan's going to get in depth with that a little bit, but I just want to say one thing with that. That comes from a lot of things, because cosmetologists always see barbers with a sharp line, or their clippers are sharp, or they say their clippers don't work. So they get the barber that they know to adjust their clippers. That barber is adjusting his clippers for his hand. So when the cosmetologist put it back in their hand, it's a different feel. She or he don't have the feel as a cosmetologist how to use the clipper. So now it's built for that guy hands who adjusted the clipper or fixed something. And
I've never adjusted them. I didn't even know you could.
Abrasion. But I can get more in detail in why stuff like that happens.
Right. So yeah, Bonnie, there's a couple of things. One, your blade after a certain amount of time could have moved. Two, you could be too heavy-handed. When you keep working a certain area, you just keep hitting that skin, you're going to get sensitive. And and sometimes it can be dry skin, but normally it's either heavy-handedness or the blade needs to be adjusted.
Right.
Okay, so adjust the blade or heavy-handed. I bet you
Yeah.
it's got to be one or two of those things or both of those things
Right.
in regards
Yeah.
to me kind of cleaning up the neck and trying to finish out
Yeah.
and get things cleaned up in there. But you have to think about these things because that's the sanitary part. I mean, you know, there's still a lot of controversy going on out there that, you know, a barber's license may not exist in some states. They're aiming for that.
Yes,
Mhm.
they are. So, I think 3 states in the United States now, you don't need a barber's license to be a barber. Just set up shop because all of the.
Do you need a license to do a shave with a straight blade?
Well,
barber license.
some places you don't. Some places they won't let cosmetologists use a straight blade.
Lots of places you can't do it. You can't do a straight razor. But as a barber, you guys are trained to use a straight razor.
We're trained to do it. We're trained to do that for shaving strokes, and a lot of barbers have license forget the shaving strokes, and they go in a different direction and create an abrasion or anything of stuff like that. And it goes back to just stay with the basics.
Yeah, yeah. So I know that some of the education, what's some of the titles that you guys teach in the classes that you offer? What are some of the titles?
Wow.
We have the iconic, today we did the iconic beard. We have another one, our most popular class, our hands-on, our 5-step aid. We also have corner blade fading. We have the iconic system. Craig created the iconic system class, which is saving you stress, time, and energy and money. It's a really in-depth class on how to bring all these things together, your technical skills, your business skills, and your social media skills.
Oh,
and
nice.
Yeah.
And we also have a class that we've been working on for a long time. A lot of people. It's really a class specifically for schools. It's really, I mean, it's a class for professionals, but we have a class specifically for schools where we are the client and the students are the barber. And what we want to do is to show students how difficult it can be when you go to start working in the barbershop, what things you're going to encounter even before you start cutting the hair.
Right.
So that's a good class we do because we reverse the role where we ask the student to come up on stage, more interactive, and we become the client. And they follow suit.
And so they need to do the type of consultation, have the conversation with you guys, find out what your needs are.
And the instructors love that.
They're not learning that in cosmetology school.
Not at all.
No,
not at all. And Bonnie, every time we do that class at the school, the instructors love that class because the students get to see where they at from the book and what have they learned, and then the instructor gets to see what he or she needs to work on with his students. So it plays both ways, and it's very, very, very good class. We love that class. It's just that most people they don't like that class at the big shows.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that makes sense.
Right. The chair balls.
Yeah, you really got to narrow down the kind of education that you guys can offer at the shows. But I've noticed an uptick, of course, in your classes that you guys have booked at shows. You got a standing room only audience. You're selling out and hands-on classes. And I think people are kind of at this point where it's like, I really have to figure this out. You know, I mean, I have a 19, almost 20-year-old son. I've had to figure it out for 20 years of how to cut his hair because guess what? He's the cool kid. So he wants the latest look. So, I mean, I had to go from the buzz cut to the Bieber, you know, to the pompadour. And, you know, he was patient with me all along the way.
Nice.
I did. I had to learn it. And I enjoyed the process of being able to do that and figure it out. But I also was very challenged at times where, you know, like, and I think you answered some of it even, Wanza, is just like that heavy-handedness. I think sometimes we don't understand that width and depth that we're putting into that clipper and how that is impacting the way that the hair is either not blending or blending.
Right. So it's funny, Craig made a joke of me earlier because I have a certain set of trimmers for my female clients, the kids, and my male clients. Right. And because when I make a mistake and grab the shape ups for the men and touch a woman with them, they're like, ooh, that hurts. So I'm like, oh, I gotta look at the back and like, oh, okay, these are initial WP, these are the heavy hitters. I gotta put them away and get out the kids trimmers. Craig doesn't have any that distinguishes. I guess his hand is a little lighter than mine with certain clippers. But it depends too. You might want to have a pair of clippers that are adjusted a certain kind of way that are a little lighter if you feel as though you're heavy-handed. If you have a light hand, you might want to have a little sharper trimmer. So, and this is all part of the process of you learning yourself, your tools, and so like you said, I think.
What are the tools that a barber or even a cosmetologist, what are the tools they should have in order to really do good men's haircutting?
You need to have an adjustable arm clipper.
Adjustable arm clipper. Okay. Right. And the arm is this thing that goes like that?
That's the adjustable arm.
Okay.
Right. That's fine.
I don't, yeah. Okay. What else?
Trimmers, a nice trimmers,
okay.
A nice pair of shears and thinning shears.
Yeah, because that's a good way to be able to blend and scissor over comb.
And I tell people all the time that one of the most important things in our industry are combs. A lot of barbers, cosmetologists understand the combs, but a lot of barbers don't. A lot of barbers are using brushes instead of combs. So that's the trick that we do in our classes. We go, cosmetologists see barbers on YouTube using a brush. When they come to our class, we use a comb and say, don't use the brush, because we want to keep it as technical, as professional as possible. A brush is not professional. It's not sanitary. Comb in hand at all times. So as we doing educational classes, we always put in little things of being technical, staying professional as a cosmetology barber or barber cosmetology. Stay professional. That's what people get out of our classes. And the most important thing is we are not selling no equipment. Even though we do answer questions about equipment that we use, we're selling educational classes, styles, and techniques. That's what we selling. So that's the difference that sets Iconic Barber aside of some of the barber teams that come from a company, because they just are doing class for clippers. We're doing classes from two barbers, 30 years in the business. We're selling you technique, experience, and skill. That's what we do.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. Thanks for bringing that up, Craig. So you guys are independent barbers, you're independent educators, you're not being financed by a company, you're not promoting or selling any of these tools and or products that might be featured out there, but you're willing to share what you're using and how to be able to use them and take care of them, because that's part of the skill. Right,
definitely part of the skill. When we started out, we used to not answer those questions, but you get asked those questions so much, so why not? We'll say we're not sponsored by them, but we will tell you what we're using, what we like, what we dislike, and that's the beautiful thing when you come to our class, because you get the real of a real barber that's been in it and travel. What's the yays and nays of equipment, and that's so important to especially the cosmetologists, because cosmetologists always want to ask the question, what can I use? What can I use? So somewhere down the line, cosmetologists are not bridging the gap of equipment. That simple thing, they don't know what equipment to use when they're coming from just using shears all day or a flat iron.
Yeah.
And they're just buying stuff.
Right.
And there is, I think a lot of times that perception of the male haircut is simple. It's, because it's not long hair. You're not styling it out. But the male haircut is very precise.
Yes.
Like you can notice a mistake really easy on a male haircut where you could kind of disguise it and hide it in female hair. So there's a lot more precision to being able to be better skilled and better technically skilled in doing men's hair.
Right. And look, I tell people all the time, every time you out, I always look at haircuts. I look at hair everywhere I go. I'm constantly looking at haircuts. That's nice. That's bad. That's good. I could fix that and all of that. And that helps me in my site, because when a client comes in, I'm used to seeing so many different styles of haircuts, because I stay so focused off of my job that I can almost figure out that client what they're looking for just by them giving me a consultation, just a few lines of what they're looking for. I have to look at it.
Yeah, that's great. What else did you want to share, Wanza?
No, I'm just in agreement that you really can't hide. It's funny because a friend of mine called me. She said, "Yeah, I really need you to come up to New York to cut my boyfriend's hair. I really wish he was up here." She's like, "He has a very, very low haircut, and these guys still mess his haircut up." She was like, "His haircut is." When she showed it to me, I automatically went to, "Oh, that's a one against the grain with a shape up." She's like, "Yeah, but it's not even even." And I just can't fathom how guys can't take a clipper with one side and go against the grain of their hair and get it even. Like there's really this is what I was saying. There's a lot of people that's just jumping in the game and trying to do stuff. They really don't understand what they're doing. And I don't understand how you don't have an eye to look at the hair and say, that's not even, and make it even. It's good and bad, but
yeah,
I agree.
I think that, just like updos, updos can befuddle us.
Right.
I think that a men's haircut, after you're kind of done with it, they're almost afraid to go back and keep cleaning it up. Where they can see that it's imbalanced.
Right.
But I think they're afraid to keep going back into it because it means cutting more off.
Right.
Exactly.
It's as simple as the good ponytail and a bad ponytail.
That's right. There's an art to a ponytail.
It's an art to a ponytail.
Yeah, that's great. Well, okay. So when you guys were talking a minute ago with the adjustable arm, so when do you use the arm when it's like parallel, and when do you use the arm where it's not? This is like barbering 101 for me.
It depends on the length that the client wants. So if they want something very close, let's say like my hair, I don't have much hair. I would use the arm closed, which means the arm would be in the up position closest to the body or the front body of the clipper.
So really clean and really
clean, which will be close. It moves the moving blade. It takes the moving blade. It's the still blade and it's the moving blade. It takes the moving blade, puts the still blade about even with each other.
Right. And that's
moving it away makes the blade go like this, which means the moving blade here is further away from the top of the still blade.
So you're going to get more texture in that.
It just cuts more hair off. Yeah.
Right.
And fading. It goes back to just fading. And fading is still the most basic thing and the hardest thing for anybody in the industry to do a men's or women's haircut is fading. Fading is still, that's why Iconic Barber always concentrate on fading. It's still the thing that barbering been in existence for this long. The hardest thing is to fade somebody nice. Fading is like 101. It's like 001. It's not even 101 yet. 001.
It is the foundation of a really great men's haircut. Or a short haircut, you could say. Because a lot of gals are wearing a very short nape nowadays and then having, like a asymmetrical look. So even for these type of looks, you have to use clippers. You got to go in there.
You got to go in there and you got to know how to adjust that arm and fade and use your shears or clipper over comb. You really do.
Well, I know I'm not the only one that has all these questions, so that's why I love the type of education that you guys are offering, because these are the basics that if you can create an understanding for a hairdresser to understand, first of all, the tool and then the technique, they're going to have an enormous amount of confidence in being able to build a male clientele. And the reason why they should be building a male clientele is because men they come in more often, they tip really well, and they're loyal.
Now, here's the funny thing. Now, Bonnie, to your point, and to talk about one of our class titles, we have a two-fade system that we do. And so the one thing that's very challenging for people when it comes to fades is putting lines of demarcation in and removing them. So to put a line of demarcation in, we call that fading up, where we're creating the first line and then going up. Okay. So there's a lot of people that are scared to do that. So what other people do is they fade down, which is going like from the top going down. They go like 4, 3, 2, 1. These are guards. 4 guard, 3 guard, 2 guard, 1 guard. But you can fade that way. You can still achieve a good fade, but you don't get as much character in the fade is if you put lines of demarcation in, put like a hard line demarcation in, and work your way up.
And
so
then
it's just
fade and blend that line of demarcation from there.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
interesting.
So,
that makes total sense to me.
So when you're fading down, you're not really putting lines of demarcation in at all.
No, you're just.
But you
you're
get
trying
this kind
to
of
blend
graduation. Yeah,
it. And,
it's a safe way to blend.
Well, it's a very safe way to blend, but it's also how we've been trained to do women's hair from the top down.
From top down.
So that makes a lot of sense as to why we probably feel more confident doing it that way versus going up.
Right.
But
Yes.
again, the starting here and working up, it's because you're doing a very inverted look on a male versus a female.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if I want volume coming off of here, then I'm going to start here and work my way down.
Right.
But most of the volume is up here if you're trying to achieve some really great men's hairstyles.
Right.
Absolutely.
Really clean around here, so that makes a lot of sense. See, you didn't think you were going to be giving me a class tonight, did you?
Right.
Hey.
It's all good. I think that's what I love about. Oh, my background's going crazy.
Right.
It eventually it's already getting dark here now. So fall is upon us. It's getting dark earlier.
Yeah. It's getting dark early.
I forgot those now.
Yeah, it's crazy. You guys are going to be teaching you just finished Premier Philadelphia. I know that you're off to the next show because we're kind of wrapping up show season here for the year.
Yeah.
So the next show that you're going to be at is going to be at where?
The ISSE in Long Beach, California, in the third weekend in January 2019.
Yeah, good. That's wonderful because I'm going to be at the ISSE too, doing some marketing and branding classes.
Right.
Great.
You guys are going to be doing some hands-on barbering?
We don't have hands-on classes this year. We have 2 regular complimentary classes. They told us that they're kind of going in a different direction this year because they're introducing more of student education as well. So we're interested to see how that goes. I would like to have been a part of more of the student education as well, but it's kind of new for them. They have to figure it out. But we're there. We're going to do what we do. We're going to, hopefully pack the room like we do and just share ourselves, which I really appreciate the ISSE because they normally give us about a good 75 minutes or hour and a half of classroom time, which gives us a real chance to perform some stuff in front of people, talk, really discuss more than just what we're doing. We can talk about business. We have a little fun. Whereas though this time here at the premiere, they gave us 45 minutes, which is for some people.
You only had 45 minutes?
Yeah, it was quick.
That's not educationally savvy. I'm sorry. I don't think it's educationally worthy.
Yeah, it was too quick. It was
too quick.
If we're in the business, you know what? Thank you for sharing that, you guys, because here's a point that I want to make, and I want your feedback on this. If we're going to be in the business of education, then we have to have the opportunity to educate.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And and I get how these shows have to create these timelines to be able to move things fast, because what they're saying, they're not telling us this, but this is what they're saying. We don't want you in classrooms all day long because we got to take care of the manufacturers who are paying our bills, who are out there on the show floor. And that's fine. I get that conversation. But I'm going to argue that conversation till the day is long, because the reason why people show up to hair shows is for one reason.
Education.
They
can finally see the people that they've been following live in color on stage and meet them and get real education. I see education. I just see education. People, the focus that people have when they come to the shows in that classroom for an hour and a half is serious education. And it's a blessing to the whole industry when people after the class walk up to say, thank you, I really appreciate coming to your class. For the hour and a half, I learned a lot in this hour. That's education.
That's education. Right. So what did you feel as though you accomplished in 45 minutes? Because listen, the shows are going to keep being this way unless we stop them from doing it, unless we get more feedback that says we're not educating them. All we're doing is like dancing and teasing them that there's more they can learn. But guess what? They come to your show to learn.
Right.
What I've learned, this is the first time we've ever did a 45-minute class. What I've learned is in 45 minutes, we needed to give them a show instead of education, which is bad. But I really wouldn't, I mean, we should have just went in there with models and just showed them that we could cut and not necessarily teach them.
Yeah.
We really need 75 minutes, easy.
I agree.
Really
I think 75 minutes is an ideal time. 1 hour to really provide the proper education, and 15 minutes to kind of create the comfortableness, be able to answer questions in the end. 75 minutes. Okay, so that's our mission. We're going to make sure that shows don't cheat the education part of what we're offering. 75 minutes is what we're going to ask for and keep demanding.
Yes.
Right.
Because I know that what these shows are saying, oh, well, we don't want people gone. You know, they freak out when they're in a 3-hour hands-on class. But guess what? The attendees paying for that 3-hour hands-on class to learn something. And then guess what they do after that 3-hour hands-on class?
They go shop.
They go
buy, because guess what? They're already the ideal buyer because they spent money on education, which means that they're the ideal buyer to spend money on the floor. So you never want to cheat that kind of person from your show. They're bringing the real money to the show.
Absolutely. Every time we finish the hands-on class, everybody rushes to the floor because they so excited of that 3-hour hands-on, what they have worked and use equipment that they never used before. They're going to go downstairs and buy it right then and there. So
whether it's a comb or a new clipper or a new pair of shoes, doesn't matter.
They're going to go. They're excited now. They want to shop, and it works so good. The ISSC is we love it out there. We love teaching out there. It's just unfortunate they want to go in a different direction, which is cool. We're still there, and we're going to give them the best we can in a short period of time. We just got to condense some of the stuff that we do and cut out some of the small stuff to really give them what we really want to give them.
Yeah, I'm going into the Millennium event this weekend, and I have a 45-minute class, and I panicked. I panicked because I'm used to teaching all day, right? All day sessions.
Right.
You know, I'm not used to doing 45 minutes, and I'm intending to do a pretty significant exercise for my class at this Millennium event that's going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona this weekend.
Okay.
And 45 minutes is, I mean, if that's all I get, we are getting right into the exercise and trying to learn something in that 45 minutes and then calling it done.
I kind of think what, in particular with the premiere, I understood Philly is new, and I think what they tried to do was offer so much so that many people could be satisfied, because they had like a certain like place for all the barbers as a barber pavilion kind of thing. But you had like Kenny Duncan going on at the same time as Dave Diggs, and then you had us going on at the same time with so you got 3 classrooms all side by side, and you got all of us going at the same time, and it wasn't staggered enough. So people are like, let me go here for 15 minutes. Okay. Let's go over here for 15 minutes. But then you get a certain amount of people, 2/3 of the class is going to stay. But then you got people, you can see them leave out of here, walk right over there. Leave out of there, come right over here. So it's like, when you're only giving them, when you putting us all in competition with one another, we understand you're trying to offer the attendees all you can offer them. But sometimes you need to stagger that so that they can really soak it all up. You just made them undecided, really undecided about how they wanted to go and where they wanted to sit in and get. So I think for me to learn the lesson.
Instead of it being a barber track, in other words, over the course of the day, there's nothing but barber classes going on in that room, but they're not competing against each other.
Exactly.
Well, listen, you know, these shows do want to kind of make their mark. But I think what's happening is that they are trying to satisfy too many people instead of understanding that the buyer to the education that they're offering is really the true buyer to the person that's going to be buying on the floor.
Right.
They go hand in hand.
Yes, they go hand in hand. They do.
Yeah, so that's good. Well, okay, so you guys are going to be at ISSC at the end of January. I'm going to send you a lead, because here's the thing. Iconic Barbers is on the Beauty Agent Network, and it's a site for educators to be promoted, to be showcased, and the ability to be able to get bookings. And the way that the Beauty Agent Network works, so if you're an educator and you're interested in coming on board, you're going to sign up. It's an annual membership. It's very, very reasonable to be a part of the membership. $597 a year for a Showcase Me package, or $297 if you're just starting out and you need a little support. I also do some coaching on the side if you need to understand how to build your brand. And to be able to master what we've done here with Iconic Barbers, because they've really refined their brand message as being Iconic Barbers. They're available in bookings, in salon, in schools, at shows and events. So you really need to tap into these guys, because they've got the goods to be able to teach you, as they did me today, all of the skills to be confident in doing, and I'm going to not just say men's hair, but shorter hair even.
Right.
Even if I just kind of narrow it down to shorter hair, which is inevitably going to come back in style.
Right, and the Beauty Network has been good to us. For those of you that are watching and kind of learn about, I don't want to join the Beauty Network. Trust me, the Beauty Network is a platform that, if you really want to get in the industry and really show your skills or work your brand, it's worth the fee. Sometimes it might be even worth more to me, but it really is worth the fee. Bonnie works very hard and diligently, and she helped us in our career. She's easily 75% of the reason why we're talking to you today.
Oh, thank you, Craig. I love that. Yeah. And here's one of the things that I want you guys to join me on this too. I've got a webinar coming up, because one of the things that I realized when I started the Beauty Agent back in the day was that people were really good at what they knew how to do, but they weren't very good at branding themselves, what their message was, what they were specifically and strategically offering. Not all of it under the sun, but one or two things that they did really well, like what you guys have shared with us today. And so I'm doing a branding class, and I've just been kind of inundated with a lot of feng shui stuff lately, because I just bought a house. I've feng shuied my office. I'm feng shuiing my house. I just got personally feng shuied because I'm going to be doing a photo shoot on Friday.
Okay.
So I got my colors and my style and my body shape all feng shuied. But I'm doing a feng shui webinar on how to be able to build your personal brand, and some of the five key areas of feng shui and how that supports you in building your brand. Like one of them is decluttering, because we all think that we should be doing all things for all people, and we forget that if we narrow our focus and define our strategy, those people actually start coming to us.
Right.
We don't have to search them.
We don't have to search them. They can start coming to us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that webinar is going to take place on October 8th. It's a Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll put the link here on the Facebook page so you guys can join me, or anybody else that wants to join me. And of course, the Beauty Network, listen, if you're an educator and you want to get a bit serious about being in the business of education, join. If you are looking to book educators like the Iconic Barbers here, then just click on the site, click on Contact Iconic Barbers, and you're going to get a direct message to them, and you guys can negotiate prices and locations and dates and all of that stuff directly with the artists.
Right.
I don't think man.
We're always a mile away from you.
Yeah. I'm the Match.com for beauty industry educators.
That's right.
Perfect. Well, I thank you guys for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you in the new year. But in the meantime, let's keep promoting Iconic Barbers, and let's get you guys some business going into the next year, because I know we all need to learn a little bit more skill with their clippers.
That's right. And
there we go. We got you, Bonnie.
Right. Always strive to be iconic.
That's right. Perfect. Good ending. And remember that it's educators educating here and connecting you to educators on the Beauty Agent Network. We're going to sign off now. Thank you guys for joining us.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.